In our previous episode, we raised a very foundational, a very basic issue, how our eating habits impact our entire behavior and how this one, a small need, becomes the root cause of our vices. Today, we'll discuss something closely related to this. But before that, let us answer a question that might have crossed some people's minds. You might be wondering why the issues we are raising now, whether it is about food or today's discussion on God consciousness, are found in both Muslims and non-Muslims alike. So why direct these questions only to Muslims? The answer is quite simple. Allah has made us ummah, a global community that commands good and forbids evil. So the foremost responsibility lies upon ourselves. There was a time when people would leave their sisters and daughters under the care of Muslim neighborhood because they were certain that they wouldn't even lift an eye to look at them inappropriately. There was a time when a Muslim was known simply as a truth teller, recognized as someone who honors their promises. So friends, we must first become the example ourselves before we can invite anyone else. Therefore, we must ask these questions of ourselves. So let us talk about God consciousness today. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. In the name of Allah, the one and only God, whose mercy knows no bounds, no measure, and whose mercy never ends. Before mazhab, religion, deen, or any ritual comes God consciousness, the constant awareness of God. When a human being realizes that they are not alone, but are under the gaze of their Lord at every single moment, then religion ceases to be merely a collection of rituals and traditions. Then worship, character, justice, and humanity all become a natural part of that awareness. The foundation of religion is built more on love than on fear, and more on understanding than on compulsion. The awareness of God is the very light that shows a human being their identity, their purpose, and their path. But when a person bows down before their own desires, then gradually their cravings become their guide, their God. And it is obvious that when your desire becomes your God, the awareness of the true God begins to fade from your heart. Ummatan wasatan, a balanced, moderate community, is built on the foundation of God consciousness. Everyone has preferences. I might be fond of food, someone else of fine clothes, another of the best possible car, and so on. There's nothing wrong with having hobbies or passions. But when this passion rises above the command of the Lord, then humans slowly begin to lose their humanity. And when we begin to compromise on small things, like our eating habits, we are actually diminishing our awareness of God. As this awareness fades, vices grow, and your respect as a community and society declines. It is a very direct connection. Think about it. What kind of an example is an Indian Muslim setting today? Leave aside the exceptions, look at the larger section of our community. Think about how our awareness of God is diminishing because we are becoming slaves of our own desires. The remembrance of God, His memory, is disappearing from our lives. Our worship now has more outward display and less inner feeling. Our character and behavior are deteriorating, and our religion has become less of a responsibility and more of an identity. What becomes of a community whose actions are identical to or worse than others, yet its claims are grand? This gap between words and actions diminishes our respect with each passing day. Questions begin to be raised about our prayers. People start finding flaws in our worship. When there is a section of society that is not sympathetic to you, does it not become your responsibility to win them over with your character and conduct? But character is built through patience. And when we cannot practice patience in small matters, building character becomes incredibly difficult. Then we question why this oppression is happening to us. There's no doubt that if anyone stops you from praying, the constitution of this country does not permit it. But who will ask the question? Does your prayer even possess the awareness of God? Under the constitution of this country, we can offer sacrifice on Bakr Eid. But who will ask the question? What is the spirit behind that sacrifice? Show off or God consciousness? Because if there is God consciousness, it is impossible that we would remain unconcerned about the cleanliness of our neighborhood, our locality, and the feelings of the people living there. Let us connect our discussion back to where it started. When a person gives in to their small desires, their taste buds, or their comfort, they gradually begin to compromise in every place that demands patience and sacrifice. When we lose control over our inner self, nafs, in our daily lives, the awareness of our Lord begins to blur in our hearts. What happens then is that our prayers become more physical movements and our worship becomes nothing more than a ritual. And this is the biggest problem of the Indian Muslim today. We often cry over our external circumstances, societal discrimination, and the challenges standing before us. Undoubtedly, the constitution of this country grants us rights, and where there is injustice, raising our voice is mandatory. But we forget that the opposing side is not affected by your claims. They are affected by your character. If our character fails to inspire people today, if our neighbors are troubled rather than comforted by our worship, then we must look within ourselves before looking outside. Change begins with an internal victory before the external battle. Until we gain control over our small habits and revive the true awareness of God within us, we cannot re-establish that respect and example in society that was once our identity. If you want worship, our identity, and our respect to remain secure in this country and elsewhere, we must first prove through our actions that we are not merely a ritualistic community, but a responsible, patient, and truthful ummah nurtured by the awareness of God. May Allah grant us the strength to remain aware of Him, to act upon the responsibilities given to us through small deeds, and to better our lives. Wa akhiru dawana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. And our final call is that all praise belongs to Allah, the Lord of all worlds. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May the peace, mercy and blessings of Allah be upon you all.